Have you ever tried to completely reset your reading habits for a season? Because I did. I only read during Lent, from Ash Wednesday all the way till Good Friday, which is February 18th to April 2nd, and some of the books are genuinely surprises for me. Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing all the books and things I read during Lent. And trust me, there are a few unexpected favorites, a few disappointments, and a couple I'm still thinking about. I will be going through each book in the order I read them. My honest thoughts along the way. Before we get into it, I want to hear from you. What is the best book you've read recently? The first book I read was The Son of Man. This is a retelling of the story of God, of Jesus. I read this in one sitting. It's not very big. This was a 6-star read for myself. That's what I rated it, but I rated it at 5 stars in Goodreads. Next, I read Babe. I was on a road trip and I just needed something to read really quickly, and we stopped at a little gas station that had a shelves of books, and I grabbed a little book. I was like, I'm not gonna read anything else on the shelf besides this, so it was like 75 cents. This was a 4-star read for me. I just needed something to keep me busy on our little road trip that we went. Then I read Of Mice and Men. This was a 3-star read. This is my copy from high school, but I added new things. So in high school, the blue was my annotations, and then now when I read it again, the pink was my annotations. A 3-star read, still pretty good. Didn't like it in high school, didn't like it now. Next I read The Catcher in the Rye. This was a half a star read for me. I read it as an ebook through Apple Books, and it was amazing. It was okay. I didn't really get it. Sometimes I like classics, sometimes I don't. I didn't like this one. Then I read With a Mind to Kill. This is a James Bond novella. This was a 4-star read for me. James Bond is pretty popular down where I am, so it is very common to find these books, people reading them down here. Next, I read Gone with the Wind. I listened to 3/4 of this book as an audio on YouTube, and I read the first 1/4 of the book physically. This was a 3-star read. The audio was much better than me physically reading this book. Other than that, it was really good. Then I read The Butterflies in God's Stomach. This is an author sent book. The author is a family member of mine, and I didn't know that there was an author in the family until he was auctioning these books off at a reunion. This book, the book about the book, and then a Czech book, Czech descents coming to Texas, to migrate to Texas, and these were being auctioned off. They went for almost $400. And I said I wasn't paying $400 for 3 books, so he sent me a copy, and they're signed. This was a 6-star read. Goodreads only let me go to 5, so it's a 5. Next, I read When You Wish Upon a Star, which is the Pinocchio Twisted Tales book. This was amazing. This was a 2.5-star read. It was still good, but it was just a 2.5 star for me. Then I read Alchemised. I thought I was reading something else, and so when I started listening to it as an audio, and I was like, what am I listening to? This was a 3-star read for me. Next, I read When You Wish Upon a Dream. This is the Sleeping Beauty Twisted Tales. This is What If Aurora Never Woke Up. This was also a 3-star read for me. Next was Part of Your World, which is The Little Mermaid Twisted Tale. This is What If Ariel Never Defeated Ursula. And so this was also a really good book. I listened to it as an audio. This was a 3-star read. Next, I listened to What Once Was Mine, which is the Tangled Twisted Tale. This is what if Rapunzel's mother took the potion from the wrong flower. This was a 3-star read for me as well. Next, I read the book about the book. This is the second book in Paul Derslick's series about the Bible. This is also another author book about him, about his story and why he writes now. God put him on this earth to write. This was a 6-star read for me. Goodreads only goes to 5. So next, I read this book. This is a epic tale of ancient Rome. It's an epic of ancient Rome. Trojan prince commanded by the gods to sail. This was a good book. I'm studying history. That's my major. Greek, Rome, Egypt, Europe, ancient world. This is right in my wheelhouse, so I'm glad I read this now and not when I need to go to class. But this was a really good book. This was a 4.5-star read. Next, I listened to it as an audio, as a podcast, was the Bible. I have 3 different versions. I have this version, I have a reference Bible from my grandfather, and then I have an illustrator Bible. But I listened to it as an audiobook, so this is a 6-star read for me, but a 5 in Goodreads. Next, I read A Twisted Tale anthology. This was a 3-star read. I listened to it as an audiobook on YouTube because the ebook version on Ocean PDF is missing half of every book that's in this book. Half of every little section that's in this book. So if you're going to read this, buy the physical copy or listen to it on audio. This was a 3-star read for me. Next, I read Reflection, which is Mulan's Twisted Tale. This is What If She Goes to the Underworld. This was a 3.5-star for me. Next, I read Fate Be Changed. This is the Brave version of, this is the Brave Twisted Tale. So this one is, what if the witch gave Merida a different spell? This was a 3.5-star read for me. Next is Go the Distance, which is the Hercules Twisted Tale. This one is, what if Meg had to become a god? After Hercules proves that he's a true hero, she had to prove that she had to become a god. This was a 3.5-star read for me as well. And then I read Almost There, which is the Princess and the Frog Twisted Tale. This one is, what if the princess from Princess and the Frog actually became friends with Dr. Lucifer, the bad guy, the doctor, in the beginning. That was a 3-star read for me as well. Next, I read After. This was a 2-star read. I read all of 1 through 5 in the same day. And then I read After We Collide, which is the second book, and that was also a 2-star read. Then I read After We Fell, which is the third book, and it was also a 2-star read. Then I read Happily Ever After, which is book 4 of the series. It was also a 2-star read. And then I finished the series with Before, and that was also a 2-star read. I also read fan fiction during this time. I read in 2 different apps. I read on Wattpad and in Tumblr, so I'll do Wattpad first. Wattpad, I read a couple different books by 2 people they were written about. The first one is Ilya Malinin, and then the second is Casey Dutton. So the Ilya Malinin ones are Shake the Frost, Figure Skating's ex-reader, which is, the reader is dating the figure skater, or is with the figure skater. Figure Skating one-shots, Ilya Malin one-shots, Tarnishing, and Van Dutch. Those are all my Ilya Malin books I read on Wattpad. Where Is My Husband is the Casey Dutton book I read. Also during this time, I read 439 fanfictions on Tumblr. And it's a lot, but when you have as much free time as I do, it's not that bad. 25 of those 439 fanfictions were about Finnick from Hunger Games. 136 of those 439s were about Casey Dutton from Yellowstone. One of those was about Quinn Hughes, and 277 of them, which is what's left of those, were about Ilya Malin. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports the channel. And don't forget to subscribe for more bookish and lifestyle content. You can always follow me on my social medias. My Instagram is Haley Renee Nelson, which is the same as this account. My TikTok is Haley Nelson 13.